Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video, I'm going to try out this new little mini press that a company sent to me. Now this is the same company that sent me the larger press a while back, and that was a full-size tumbler press, but today I'm going to focus on this press. So if you have considered one of these little mini presses, I hope you'll watch the video all the way to the end. Now here's the box that this little press comes in. So it's pretty small. All right, so right on the top you have a manual, and then looks like we have some heat tape. So this is turquoise, kind of a greenish turquoise, and I can tell it matches the press. So I'm happy about that. I really love this color. They also have it in pink, and I'm not sure what other colors. Cute. Some little heat gloves. I have these in pink. That's really pretty. Okay, so the cord's loose. And go ahead and get this plastic off. All right, the controls are here, so I'm going to face that toward me. All right, so just like a lot of presses, you have the little prongs. And where does that plug into? Okay, so there's 4 little prongs down in there, and those have to fit in the 4 holes here. There's also a little opening on this side, and there's a hump right here at the top. So that opening in the metal has to go over that hump. All right, so I'm gonna press it in. Then this little collar right here, it turns. You screw that down, and that makes sure that your plug's not gonna come out. It just tightens it up. Okay, then I can see on this side is where you put your power cord. Just has 2 little holes in it, and there's 2 little prongs in here. Let me see what the instructions say. It says it's 350 watts, and it will go from 320 Fahrenheit to 392 Fahrenheit. If you happen to use Celsius, they also have the range for that. Now it also tells the element size. So the height, or in this case the width, is 4.72 and the diameter is 3.35. So I'm going to put a few things in here and see if they fit. All right, now they sent me some sublimation tumblers, so I'm going to start with that. Now with the width of this being less than 5 inches, it's not going to do an all-over design unless I press it twice. That's something I definitely want to try, but first of all, I'm just checking the diameter. All right, so there's a little lever here. You press that, and it lifts that side. So right now it's not closing. There is a knob here, so I can try to adjust it. All right, so that works. That is very, very tight. I'm going to put it to its widest and see how wide it gets. Okay, it feels like that's where I bottomed out. All right, so that's too loose for this tumbler, but that might work for a coffee cup. So I know this one will actually work as far as the diameter goes. But again, you see how your tumbler's sticking out. So you'd have to do that in 2 presses. Then I could get it tighter. And with it like that, there's about a third of it exposed, or a 1/3 inch of it exposed. So I'd have to do a press, open it, turn it some, and then press it again. And that's what I do in my regular tumbler press. Then I went to Michael's and I bought some Cricut mugs. And I bought the larger capacity because, of course, we love our coffee and we like a lot of it. So I wanted to test and make sure that this would work with the larger capacity one. So let's see if it'll work with this. Ooh, it looks like it will. Okay, now earlier I said that I had bottomed out on this, and actually it does continue to loosen up. But you can see there's a lot of white showing on that mug. So you would not be able to get your design up close to your handle. And that is if it even will fit in here. All right, so you can use the larger Cricut mugs, but again, you're going to have quite a bit of white showing there. And because this knob is so small, it's quite a bit of work to loosen and tighten this. Here's the other press that this company sent to me, and you can see those knobs are a lot larger, and I didn't really think that would make a big difference, but it really does. So it does fit. All right, go ahead and tighten this back up some. Okay, I have two more products I want to focus on, and that is this water bottle. Okay, now the water bottle fits in there, but if you look at it, even though it's tight, there's a gap right here. So you would definitely need to rotate this to get good coverage all the way around. Then the last thing that I just want to see if it fits is this little, it's a skinny can koozie. Okay, that one fits, and that fits nice and tight all the way around. And there's just a tiny little gap. But again, on most of these tumbler presses, I really feel like you need to rotate your product to get the little bit that's in the gap. If you're doing a full wrap design. Now, if you're just putting it on one part, then you wouldn't need to. You just make sure that the part where you don't have the design is up. It's time to put this to the test. So enough talk about it. Let's see how it works. So the control panel is right here. When I push this on button, it goes to the lowest temperature, 160 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to push it a second time so that it moves to the 180 degrees. So your options are 160 degrees Celsius, 180 degrees Celsius, or 200 degrees Celsius. Then for time, your options are 300 seconds or 200 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the 180 Celsius and 200 seconds. Now, I'm not going to use that entire 200 seconds, so I'll have my phone handy to actually time this. So I have one design I'm going to put on both sides. And this is for a YouTube friend of mine, Mary from Kansas City. So I used yellow and red because the Kansas City Chiefs colors are yellow and red, and I thought she might enjoy that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this on my cup. By then, I assume this will be up to temperature, and we'll try it out. Now when my press reached the right temperature, it beeped 3 times, and it may do that again, but I wanted to show you the cups that I'm using because I'm not using the Cricut mugs that I showed you earlier. I thought those were too big. I thought the pressure might be too much. So this is a Michaels brand. Then I also looked up the equivalent temperatures for the 160, 180, and 200 degrees Celsius. So the lowest temperature, 160 degrees, that's the equivalent of 320 Fahrenheit. 180 is the equivalent of 356 Fahrenheit, and then 200 is the equivalent of 392. Well, these Michaels mugs, They say use 365 for 40 seconds. So I'm going to go with the middle one because that was 256. That's pretty close. We'll see if it works. Then just to protect the heat press from having any ink transfer to it, I'm going to tape this butcher paper around it as well. Now, since my temperature is a little bit lower than what the cup instructions say, it says press for 40 seconds at 365. I'm going to go ahead and do this for 60 seconds because it's a little bit low. Now, that seems like not enough time, so we'll see. Hopefully it turns out well. I'll peek at it to make sure before I take the paper all the way off. All right, my timer's just about to go off, so I'm going to put it on this ceramic tile and get my gloves on. I'm not going to turn my heat press off because I really question whether this is done with that little bit of time, but we're going to see. Now I can touch the handle. It's not bad at all, but that cup is really hot. Oh, that's not done at all. All right, my press just timed out. Let me go ahead and turn that back on. This time I think I'm going to go up to the higher temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and press this for 3 more minutes. So I did 1 minute before. I'm doing 3 more minutes. So I'm going to do it a total of 4 minutes. All right, there's 10 seconds left on my timer. I went ahead and canceled it, so you don't have to listen to it this time. All right, let's see if this was a success. Oh, that is pretty. Oh my goodness. That is so pretty. Okay, I feel so much better. I was afraid I was going to mess up Mary's coffee cup. All right, now let me let this cool down so I can get all that tape off and really show this to you. All right, this one turned out really nice. So I have my next image printing out. You might be able to hear that. This cup's still pretty warm, but I can handle it. All right, it is pretty. Very, very pretty. But remember, do not use the instructions that comes on these Michaels cups if that's what you use. Now on a tumbler, they heat up faster, so you don't have to do those as long, but these ceramic cups, it takes a while for those to get up to temperature. And so I think that's why it took longer. I really feel like they need to modify their instructions, so the next thing I'm going to make is this print, and I'm going to put it on a tumbler that they sent to me. So I'll go ahead and just skip over the taping and all that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. But I have a lot of videos of me taping tumblers. So if you're interested, check out some of those. All right, I have my tumbler all wrapped up, so I'm ready to put it in the press. And then I have a little paper, it's too much paper, but a little paper cradle. So I'm going to start with the tape seam toward me. And I don't want to get it too close to this end because I've seen a couple videos where that was an issue. Okay, now this, that's going to make it where my paper cradle doesn't quite work. So instead, I just have a piece of paper wrap most of the way around it. Again, I want to stay at least a ½ inch from this end. Now I'm going to do 60 seconds, then I'll turn it and do probably about 20 more, maybe 30 more. I'll let you know. Now I can see it's too close to this end, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust that really quickly. Okay, I can see the design coming through the paper. Hopefully that's a really good sign. Let's open it up and see. All right, I'm not sure if this is perfect. I'm pretty sure it's not perfect. Now this little spot was in the design. I saw that when I was taping it. And then I can see at the top it's not great. That's some paper right there. But there's no paper there. It just didn't have a great coverage. The bottom seam isn't as good as I usually do. All in all, it's a nice tumbler, but I've seen this issue happen on the other people that I've watched use this press. If really what I wanted to press for was the tumblers, I would get the other one that I showed you earlier in the video. The same people sent me both of these presses, but it is just much more flexible than this one. Now if you're doing small coffee cups on this, that was great. That turned out beautiful. So let's talk about this press, its pros and its cons. Now the pros are, it's quite a bit less expensive than a full-size tumbler press. It's super cute, easy to carry around, and it worked really well on this coffee cup. So if I were wanting to do coffee cups, I think this would be a great little press. Now the downside, even though we could make it work for the tumbler, I still have issues around the top and the bottom. And if you watch my other videos, I usually don't have those issues. They usually turn out really well. So even though it's a much better price point than the full tumbler presses, I would still have a hard time spending even less than, but getting close to $100 on this if I really want to do tumblers. Now the timing of this is great because I just got an email when I woke up this morning and I checked my emails. I had an email from the company that sent me this press and the bigger press, and they said they're having a big 4th of July sale on the large press. So I'm going to cut and paste the information that was in that email as far as the discount and all that into the video description below. Now, I don't know if it's good past the 4th of July or only on the 4th of July, but I am going to put that information in the video description. I'll also put a link to this one in case really what you're looking for is something to do smaller coffee mugs, because again, on those, it did a nice job. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope if you've been thinking about getting a small press versus a large press, I hope this answers some of your questions. Thanks again for joining me. Until my next video, bye-bye.